Hey everybody, my name is Bobbi Superbody. I am a southern pop music entertainer from the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'm very happy to be here in Nashville.
And I'm your host, Rian Archer. This is Everything Nice. So we're here with Bobbi Superbody from Chattanooga. You're here in Nashville with us. You just played a show at Dark Matter.
Yup.
And you're on tour.
Yeah, going up to Canada and back. I guess first I'm going to Montreal, then heading back down. A couple dates into it so far, and I was really happy to play Dark Matter last night. It was a cool spot.
Yeah, it was a great show, kind of a sleepy kind of Sunday night, but people came out and it was really good energy. Great way to end this long weekend that we've had with Spew Fest and everything in Nashville.
What was Spew Fest?
It was it was a Cold Lunch Records production, and they do it, I think this is their fourth one, ranging from rap to punk to post-punk to psych rock to garage, festival at East Room and Cobra, so 3 different stages. It was cool.
Yeah, I haven't even spent that much time in Nashville, period. You've pretty much booked me every time I've been here until this past show. So, have I outgrown the move, or...
Actually, the move...
is that still...
The move, which is a DIY... It's just a house. It's a basement venue. If you don't know about the move, then you don't know about the move. You don't know what the move is. But it is actually no longer the move. The residents that were living there while it was the move moved out. And new people moved in, some really cool musicians and friends of mine. And they're still doing shows, but it's called The Chili Factory now.
Oh, wonderful. Well, sweet.
But yeah, it lives on. I miss it though. I think I had some of my favorite shows there. Yours included the first one in...
Yeah.
When was that?
I have no idea. 16? It was 17 at least.
20,
yeah.
Like November, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm going to ask you a question now. You haven't spent a lot of time in Nashville, but I feel like you have a really strong fan base here. Like, young people really like you and really like your music. And you're from Chattanooga, and you live there currently, but you were living sort of close to in Atlanta for a while?
Yeah. I went to college in Atlanta. I'm originally from town of Dalton, Georgia, which is a little bit south of Chattanooga. I always said I was a Chattanooga artist because you can't go online really and say I'm a pop musician from Dalton, Georgia. It doesn't really make sense or doesn't even have anything to really put on a map really. But yeah, I went to college in Atlanta at Georgia State, then moved back to Dalton, then moved back to Atlanta, and now for the first time for this past year, I have been living in Chattanooga proper, and
Nice.
I love it. So yeah.
I think it's a beautiful and cute little city.
What I usually say, it has everything I could want out of like Atlanta without like the stress or the amount of money or the yeah.
But Dalton is the carpet capital of the world.
The carpet capital of the world it's a cool place to hang out.
It's on the map in the carpet industry.
Yep. 90% of the world's carpet is made in my hometown. The world. So that means like 99% of America is made in my hometown.
That's fucking
yeah.
nuts.
Yep.
So growing up in Dalton, besides carpet, what's in Dalton? What's there to do there?
I mean, it's a quaint little suburb. It had its own little punk venue. This place called The Venue. Actually, Paramore played there when I was a kid.
That's incredible.
Had a lot of touring bands come through. I don't know. It was just about like anywhere else. I don't like to try to be the young person that just completely shits on their hometown, because I did have a good childhood there, and was always like a theater and a marching band kid, and had a really great marching band at Dalton High that I loved.
What did you play?
Trombone and baritone.
That's awesome.
I can still only read bass clef. I never learned. Because I played bass for like churches as well, so all the sheet music I've ever read is in bass clef, so I don't know. Yeah, I know it's super easy, but I still just haven't taken the time to switch over to treble for anything.
I'm like the opposite. I can only read the treble clef because of band as well.
What did you play?
alto saxophone. I was second chair the whole time because I was like kind of good at it, but didn't care enough to really try. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing with me in theater. Like, I really, really was passionate about theater. I was, like, the only kid in my class that did, like, every single play that was offered. Like, I did 12 plays in high school.
Wow.
But there was always this one kid, Josh. He's, like, a protege actor. Like, he, like, does Shakespeare in Orlando now for, like, tourists and stuff like that. And he's, like, he was a musical theater major and, like, incredible. And he always beat me out for all the things I wanted. But we were, like, best friends. But... yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, your path wasn't to be a Florida-based theater actor, so...
I kind of feel like one, but it's pretty close to what I do.
It is, but you're
less stable.
You're a little bit more in control, or entirely in control of the kind of character that you play. Would you say you play a character?
I would say, yeah, very much so.
I mean, I grew up doing band, choir, theater. It was a great experience, but I don't know if it influenced me, but I do appreciate having spent time in music since the 4th grade. But I don't know, did it influence you?
Well, yeah, the whole thing with Superbody, and when I started it, was actually kind of born out of a distaste for a lot of the DIY scene I was in before. I was kind of in this emo-y punk band based out of Atlanta, and I didn't feel like anybody... It was just this weird basement boys club that no one was truly, like, I thought, like, being expressive. They were just, like, honing in on a sound and a style that was blowing up at the time, and then that bubble burst, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm being expressive at all. I don't know, just, like, being bros with everybody doesn't interest me. Like, I actually want to, like, express myself. You know, like, and put myself out there completely and make a fool of myself and entertain people, make people happy, as opposed to just playing into an aesthetic. Like, music's just in its such, like, 10th generation now that people, like, forget why they even start doing it. Like, it should be to entertain people. I see people online and trying to put themselves out there, but not even, like, truly being proud of their own art, or being, like, throwing stuff out there and they're just like, oh, this is just a demo, like, it's gonna be better. It's like, why would I listen to that if you're not even proud of it?
Yeah, disclaimers.
Like, exactly, like, if you are not, like, 100% behind yourself, and you're like, why should I care about you? There's plenty of people that actually want it and are willing to put their face behind it and everything, and their reputation and everything behind it, and their... as opposed to just hiding behind aesthetics or whatever cool scene that you think is cool, or who you think is cool and want to be like. I don't know. I like people that, like, take risks, because art is failure to me. Like, especially, like, indie art. It's all failure. It's all, like, putting yourself out there and people like, I don't like that. And then you try again, and hopefully people like it the second time, and then you just keep trying. But at least, like, I've always said that I want to make stuff that's polarizing but not controversial.
Interesting.
Polarizing in the sense that I want you to have a hard opinion on what I make.
Yeah. Because
that's how music is oversaturated and art is oversaturated, because there's too much of it out there that people can just be like, I can take this or leave this.
Yeah.
Like, whether they say that or not, like, that's what it's just another thing in the cog of whatever oversaturation in music is, and or like the whole, like, post Mac DeMarco world we're in right now of, like, home recording. Why would I listen to you? I can go listen to Mac DeMarco. Unless you're, like, truly bringing something to the table.
I feel that way about a lot of bands at times, and a lot of times it is those boys that are miniature Mac DeMarcos and have a really similar sound. Yeah. And I'm like, you're not doing anything new. You're not really, like, maybe you guys sound good, but that's all you're giving people, and yet you take up a lot of space in your city and in your scene.
Yeah.
And I also like the thing that you said about people not being proud of what they're making. I think that people...
or downplaying what they're making to seem cooler. No, yeah. When
people give disclaimers, like, I think you need to be your own biggest fan, and I think that you exemplify that on stage.
Yeah.
And just in life, sometimes it might be a self-confidence thing, but especially kind of lame if you're like, oh, it's whatever, like, it's, you know.
And then inside they're dying for attention.
Yeah.
If you're a person like me, like dying for every play, like I wear it on, I'm like, please, all day I just try to find ways to say, please pay attention to me without saying that.
Yeah.
And that's what being an entertainer is, or an up and coming entertainer should be.
Yeah.
Like, look at me, look at me, look at me. I have something to offer. Like, I want to make you happy. Like, I want to be that thing that you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And that, for you, kind of grew out of being a part of a scene. I think you said Wonder Root, and being a part of a kind of emo hardcore scene, which usually, as kind of a fan, but kind of an outsider to that kind of music, you know, a lot of shit sounds the same.
Well, yeah,
it's the same.
It went down to the point where it was things like I would tour with bands, and it's not a shot at those bands or whatever. Like, there's plenty of respectable artists within that community at the time, and there was a lot of people doing a lot of cool things, enough for me to be obsessed with it at the time and obsessed with the music, and I liked it a lot of the time. But I would tour with bands sometimes that we would show up to a decent venue and would refuse to play on the stage. And it's like got to be on the floor with the crowd and the community and everything. And I'm like, you're not an entertainer to me if it's everything's about the scene. No, like, you are in a band because you want to be on stage. You want to be that person everybody's looking up to, and you're entertaining them. It's not just about if I wanted to pal around with my friends, like, if that's an outlet for people in music, that's fine. I'm just saying that's not who I am.
Yeah.
At all. Like, I don't want to make music to make friends or to look cool or get laid or whatever. Like, I want to do it because I have an urge to express myself because I think I'm good at it. That's like the main thing of my distaste. I was like, none of you are truly putting something on the line to be chopped off or to fail. You're just cashing in on this, like, specific tag on Bandcamp that everybody likes at that moment, and then you're just going with that. And I was doing the same thing, and I was just like, I need to take chances if I'm gonna do this, or just have something to look back on when I'm old. And I'm like, if I did that whole, like, I'm an underground musician thing, I want to look back when I'm old and be like, I really tried though, you know, like, I really put myself out there, and that's commendable. Even if it ruins my reputation and the sense of this is what I'll always be to a lot of people. And even if I want to change one day and just do whatever and not do this anymore, like, at least I tried, like, 100%, and put myself 100% out there and tried to do the best shit I could.
Yeah, I think that if anyone who's listening has seen you perform, they have seen that.
Yeah.
That giving it your all. I think there's something to be said about someone who is a performer, and especially when you are a performer in a DIY scene where there is a lot of saturation of, here's the band, and they do the same thing. It's like, visually what you were being stimulated by, it's the same. It's exactly the same. Everybody looks the same in their jeans, and, like, everybody is standing and moving and occupying the space in the same way. When you're a performer and you don't have instruments, or you're just like, my body is my instrument, this is how I'm expressing myself. So we know why you kind of turned away from being in a band and just playing in the punk DIY scene and the monotony of it, but how did you start to transition, and how was Superbody born?
It was, like, just born out of me and my good friend Caleb Dills together having those same ideas and working third shift jobs at Amazon, at an Amazon warehouse, and then we were just wanting to save up. Then once we quit that job, just put everything out online, buy the equipment, learn Ableton, and we didn't even know what kind of music we were going to make. We just knew, like, at the time, like, really cheesy music was what was making us happy and, like, getting us through a weird, depressing time. And like, neither of us had ever liked cheesy 80s music or anything. And then it, like, expanded from there once we started learning about production, and they were like, okay, this stuff is God then also in the production side of it. And so Yeah, that was the whole point of Superbody. Whatever the music was going to be, originally we were just like, we don't want anything related to us in a scene. Like, if it's going to be, it's going to take a lot longer because people aren't going to be like, oh, that group of bands or that thing. Like, we have to create our own culture and create our own aesthetic. And then if anybody want to follow along, that's cool too. But it's like, we want to reference ourselves and ourselves only, especially within geographically where we were. And it did make it extremely hard at the very beginning as just like outsiders and 100% focusing on internet art. And that was the main goal of that. And I didn't want to do any kind of touring or playing shows unless I really felt people wanted us to, because I didn't want to be in this space where I'm asking for anything from anyone. Like, I just want to, now you have an opportunity to just make things yourself, put it on the internet, and then people want you to come perform, hopefully. Like, I don't want to be like, can you add me to this bill, dude? Like, please. Like, no, it's like, no, I want to perform to people that want to see me perform. And if it happens to be like, if I get an opportunity to open for somebody that's bigger than me and then people don't know who I am, that's great too. But it's just like the process of getting shows and the process of people taking pictures of you. Like, I'd much rather do it all myself first, and then people like, oh, I like your context, like, let me work with you, as opposed to, I don't like cold emailing anyone. And I was like, started Superbody, we were like, we're not going to cold email anyone, we're just going to do stuff in-house, and then hopefully people pay attention enough to help us and make it bigger, you know.
That's an interesting process. I do like the approach of shutting yourself, in and really curating your content based out of just what's coming out at you, solely. And then if people pick up on it, you're like heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
But obviously the internet and social media is very important to the entire overarching performance of Bobbi Superbody as well as comedy.
Yeah.
So tell me about like your internet presence. Did that come like as soon as you started developing this character? Like, were you like, social media is important?
Of course, like, yeah, that was like the number one thing, because it's like when we first started Superbody as a 2-person project with me and Caleb, I switched over all of my personal social media to our page. And then had the rejection of like 1,000 people unfollowing me in a day when that happened.
Really?
And we posted our first music video because I came from that emo scene, and all the people that were following me. And we put out our first music video, and it's like, oh, it's the dude in the emo band starting his new electronic project. And it was like weirdo lo-fi pop or whatever.
Yeah.
And 1,000 people unfollowed me in a day after like something that I had like worked on for like a year and a half and like presented it. And they're like, what is, and I disappeared for a long time before that. But then when I finally posted something, people were like,
Yeah.
I'm not into that. I'm not into that. And so it's so funny. It's like, I didn't even think about it at the time. Like, we were so proud of it. I was just excited. Like, I was just happy. Like, like I was just happy that like we knew it was good, and it made sense because the people that were following me at the time wouldn't like it. Due to many weird things that were happening at the time, there was a lot of people. There was rumors going around that I had lost my mind anyway, because I kind of left Atlanta after the emo band broke up, and the people in Atlanta thought I'd like just up and left and lost my mind, and people were saying that I lost my mind online. And I wasn't like, and then I just come out as like this new thing, and so they were like, oh, he did lose his mind, that's cool. Like, I don't fuck with this. Like
I kind of love that though.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I loved it, and I like embraced it. I was like, oh, I'm a crazy person now. And I was so obsessed with that where I would stay in character all night at shows for like the first year of doing Superbody, where I would hide, and if someone had to talk to me, I would talk to them in my like on stage character. In like places like Athens, Georgia, like that helped me a lot. Like, people were like, have you seen this crazy person that comes and plays here, kind of thing. Like, have you seen this like literal insane person? And I like that. Like, it's awesome. I was just like hooked on that.
I feel like if I approached Superbody like, oh, who's this artist, I would have thought that you would be like a lifelong 80s music fan.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to hear you say you're like just getting into cheesy music.
Well, yeah, it really was, and it just like it impacted Caleb and I a lot. Like, I grew up on, like, my dad's like a prog rock guy, so I just grew up on Rush and Styx and stuff like that, and classic rock or whatever. And my mom listened to, and now that's like my favorite music in the world, things like Chicago or like 80s power ballads and stuff like that. And I always liked it, but like neither of my parents really ever played like Michael Jackson or Prince. Like, I didn't hear like any Prince music until it was put on Spotify like a couple years ago, like period. Like, I hadn't heard, like, other than like occasionally on the radio, and like, then once I got to listen to all of it, I was like, this is life changing. Yeah. And then it was just, first it was just because it made us happy when we were working a shitty warehouse job, and then it was the production, and we were like, oh, these people are doing this stuff without computers. Like, how are we so shitty at this?
Oh, that's amazing.
80s music still to this day like stands up on the radio perfectly. I don't know.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. But we want to go into Superbody, and I say this now, it's just like I wanted to make rock music that was produced like electronic music. Like, a lot of that is like a quote-unquote acoustic instrumentation that's quantized and perfect and danceable. For multiple reasons, I'm obsessed with that. Like, one, I think it's needed in pop music. Like, I don't think people just hate guitars now. People aren't sick of guitars. Like, it's always gonna be part of the social scope of, like, guitars are always gets made too much of an impact on music culture for people just to be like, they're sick of guitars. I think, of course, this is just my opinion, is that I feel like a lot of people picking up guitars because there's so much context in guitar music now to be obsessed over.
Yeah.
And different facets of guitar music over the past 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
That people are putting aesthetics before songwriting now. When I'm saying songwriting, I'm saying pop songwriting. Like, if you take any, like, huge rock song that has impacted culture and is played on stadiums to this day.
That's what Nirvana was doing, no?
At baseball games, those are perfect pop songs.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. But it's like, and now you, like, a lot of things in the indie scope, you can be more creative and whatever, but like, that's not going to get you radio play. I don't think the people that are trying really hard, they're more focused on facets of different creative things as opposed to their songwriting, if that makes sense. Guitar music has moved into more of like this critical thinking type of thing where it's like facets of indie rock have such like an intellectual kind of thing now, or like of how people, and then it's just like rap is taking over because it's more immediate and it's less picked over. Like, I have no interest in being a pretentious artist at all. Like, I just want to make people happy for 3 minutes. Like, that's all that matters. If I get the resources to change the world or put my stamp on something, that's amazing. But right now, I'm just trying to make people happy and hopefully get to a place where I can do that, or put my eye onto things, or put my creative whatever onto something that's actually in top 40, or be involved with somebody in top 40. But it's like, now I'm just like desperate. I'm just like, and that's what we all are. And I'm just willing to say it. Like, I'm so desperate. People to look at me and pay attention to me because I want a job. Like, all I want is a job in something creative. Like, I know, like, I'm not going to be like a pop star. Like, I think I'm good at this right now. I'm still in my 20s. Like, let's just try this.
Yeah.
And it's a shit show, but like, whatever happens. And I am privileged enough to try this in my 20s. Like, and if I feel like I'm good at it, I should.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's a very pure and fun approach to making music, with the end goal being to make people happy. And it makes sense for pop music because I think that's largely the goal of pop music. I think it's saturated and it's instantly catchy and gets inside of you so that you can like let a pop song take you over. And the music itself, of course, and you know, chord progressions and the structure and all of the production elements that make a great pop song, like, it's supposed to make you feel like a literal rush. And that definitely happens to me listening to, you know, pop songs really loud in my car.
Of course, like, that's the whole thing of like the movement in indie culture of millennials and everything, or people that have the leisure and the time to over intellectualize music.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about that anymore. Like, the normal everyday people don't have time and the leisure to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they put it on the radio, like, whether they like the song or not, and they're busy people and they don't have time to just, like, go through tags all day on Bandcamp and, like, be like, oh, this is more important because of this, like, and, like, rate things. Come to my show, listen to my music, how I feel. Like, come to my show, listen to my music if you want an escape from whatever crappy crap is happening in your life. And I'll try to provide that, as opposed to things that a lot of indie rock, and I think wallows in the sadness of life in general, or anybody's woes, or it's like leave the woes to be the woes, let the entertainment entertain you.
Yeah.
As opposed to over intellectualizing and everything, and like the process. And like, I used to be crazy interested in like production, and I still am interested in production, but it's just like I'm more interested, for me personally, like in just like packaging of songs, in the sense of how it's presented and how it's marketed and how it's put out there to get eyes on it, as opposed to like, oh, he used this filter, oh, he used this reverb, kind of thing. Like that just shows my privilege if I'm like that. Like, I don't care. Like, if it sounds good, it sounds good. And hopefully you got there using cool stuff or whatever. But it's like, it's all about the end goal. And it's kind of stopped me because I think about end goals too much, where I'll start a song and I'm just like, nope, will not work with my character, won't affect everyone. This is too specific. This is whatever.
I think when you talk about the over intellectualizing and focusing on all the elements of production, or the way that you produce through Ableton, or what DAW you use, or what pedals you use, or what guitar you use, is like part of the nature of music culture right now, where it's like that's what's supposed to give your music value, is that you have all this crazy gear, or you do all these things to produce. But I think that kind of attitude, well, I mean, it's great to be obsessed with gear, and I think gear is really cool, and I'm really in this place where I'm learning so much.
Of course.
And I love it, but looking at it from the outside of before I started learning, all of that shit was so scary to me, because I was like, I don't know what this is, so I'm anxious. And everyone else has this attitude of like, kind of like it felt like name dropping to me, like, but for
gear
stuff.
Yes.
And I think it's like a barrier to entry for people that aren't as represented in music, or just anyone that's not like a white dude.
Like I'm saying, I don't even like getting in those conversations about stuff like that, like, because it just does show my privilege and my just pretension. Sometimes I find myself where I'm like, oh, I'm on the fourth stage of myself, like in like this ironic cycle. That sounds pretentious in me saying that, but like once something is ironic and then it's cool again to you, and then it's ironic again, or like talking about humor in my stuff, like because I never want people to like view me as like edgy or anything, but like I said, I want you to have an opinion, so I have to do things that spark interest. Well, that goes back to the whole thing, is when we started Superbody, we wanted it to be something where the big gripe I had with a lot of those bands that I was affiliated with before or in was that I didn't think they were creating their own culture. I thought they were cashing in on something that they liked, and they're like, oh, we'll just follow this path. And then when I started this, I was like, I don't want to be a band. I don't want to be an artist unless I can have enough culture surrounding me, and I have enough context, more than culture, context as an artist to be someone's favorite ever. I've always said, like, I want like a middle school kid to be able to write an essay about me. You see what I'm saying? Like that's my goal, not just a Bandcamp link. Because I know for a fact, like, my last, like, full record, okay, like, if we had just thrown that up on YouTube, the music was great and amazing, but if we didn't put everything else around it and, like, some kind of, like, work around it and all the videos, and it would have just sat there.
Yeah.
It would have just, nobody would have cared, but you truly gotta, and that's what's exciting about internet art right now. Like, it's like anything can happen any day. Any email I can come into my inbox anytime, and I like something cool can happen just because I put myself out there completely to display myself.
You
like
definitely put yourself out there. I think it's interesting that the bands that you got tired of, where they're conforming to a culture and kind of just perhaps regurgitating a culture, no shade, but
Yeah.
that definitely happens all the time in music scenes. And I feel like that is kind of part of the capitalist nature of music. It's like, let's make this because it's already hot. Like,
Oh yeah, or just that's instant context as well. Like when it comes to a
easy.
scene where it's like, oh, I fuck with this guy because he was like affiliated with this guy, and that starts conversation. I was just trying to take a different approach to it. I want to start conversation just about myself and just about like the actual stuff, not who else is doing stuff that's kind of like mine. And I haven't succeeded at any of this in any way. I've failed at it countless times. I'm just saying what my end goal is. It's just trying and having a big idea as opposed to just cutting yourself short. And like I can't go around saying I'm a pop musician without thinking that my stuff could go the distance if it got in the right hands or whatever, right people saw it or whatever.
Do you feel like being original is something that's important to you, or like being different, or do you feel like it comes from a different place?
I don't care about being original. I care about sticking and evolving my specific character.
Curating really intentionally.
Things that my character would say, things that my character would do is the most important to me. And like whenever I started just singing in a weird funny voice, and me and Caleb were just like, oh, let's just make a whole record like that. And then we just started like just brainstorming, like what would that person with that voice say? Well, how would they feel about this? Because you have to put yourself in like super small boxes, or at least I do. I have like time deadlines and super small creative boxes in order to get anything done, where it's like, oh no, that he wouldn't write a song about that. Like it's so much more fun than like I don't even know who I am. Like and that's not interesting to me. Like I want to come up with the coolest person I can come up with in my head and then be that guy, because I haven't figured myself out.
Yeah.
And I don't care about people figuring me out, and I don't care about people worrying about my problems, like of my privileged white male American life. Like it's not interesting.
Yeah.
And that's not just like, that's just in general. I'll take that about anyone. All I care about is if you say it cool. Like if you say it expressively and in a new way and poetically and whatever, that's cool. But like unless you're like a celebrity or something, I'm talking about like indie music specifically. Of course, like celebrity pop stars, like if they truly like say an interview and like have something like deep and profound to say about their actual life, they have a platform to say that. I'm saying as me as a nobody going out there, it's like and knowing like the people I know and my friends will listen to it or whatever. It's like those emotional heartstrings don't like interest me at all. I just love the fact that you can do anything. Like you can say like I said, make up a person, the coolest person that you could possibly think of, or the one that you think is the funniest or the happiest or the coolest person, which is what I try to do, and then put yourself in a box of that and then present that person to the world, because everybody's presenting in music.
Yeah.
Like no matter if
in life.
And no, yeah, exactly. But with specifically music, even the dude at 4:30 p.m. in the coffee shop with just an acoustic guitar, like that's a character. Like no matter what. Of course, that's a super simple thing to say, but people won't own up to that. People think they're so authentic in every sense. I kind of got that vibe like when the whole like lo-fi movement of like the post Mac DeMarco stuff happened, or like Alex G kind of stuff, where when their music caught on, and I like love both of them for like their production techniques and songwriting and being creative in that sense, but the way they were marketed was like, look at this guy, he cares so little. Like, he's just this bedroom dude that he's no, he cares. He cares a lot. Like, and now that's a sponsored ad on my Facebook. Like, look at this guy. He's so chill.
Yeah.
No, he's not. No, he's a desperate little baby that wants attention like all of us. All of us do. He's not like, that's just, you got to own up to what you are. If you think you're a musician or an entertainer, it's such a selfish thing to do. So just own up to being selfish.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing that for you, in whatever way, whether you're career driven or sex driven or whatever, or just clout driven in any sense, follower driven, own up to that, what you are. People, it's kind of shifted anyway now, in the sense of people are proud of people for putting themselves out there now. Now that everybody does it. 10, 15 years ago, if your favorite underground artist got the cover of Rolling Stone, you'd be like, the term sellout is dead now.
That's true, yeah.
The bigger, if I was in Billboard tomorrow, you would be like crazy proud of me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like saying that as we're friends or whatever. And if I saw you in your photography, you've ended up in anything, in any art magazine or anything, the bigger the one, the more proud of you are of that person.
Yeah.
You're not like, you're a sellout. You're not. I find whatever cool underground artists all the time, and when I see them picking up steam, I'm just happy for them. You know what I'm saying? And that was a serious problem in generations before. So that's a really good thing that's happening.
I think that our culture is maybe at a point where everything is so fucked up, and we're all really just trying to make it while laboring under a capitalist white supremacist society, and that's really hard for a lot of people. And art is an escape for a lot of people, or it's what makes it worth living. But if you want to do that under capitalism, like, you need these platforms, and you need that. It's important to like remain critical of these platforms, but it's also just like, use it to your advantage if you can, obviously. Like, so you've really been curating this character for how long would you say?
Since middle of 2015, I guess.
Who is he?
I would say I try to embody desperate confidence is what I like saying.
Desperate confidence. It feels like a hyperbole of the things
a desperate, but it's from the opposite side. I like viewing it as somebody who's already had success and is trying to get it back. That's what I try to do. Like, that has so much pride, but like playing with masculinity is just like my favorite thing to do. Like, whatever it means to be positive masculinity is what I try to do, in the sense of making fun of masculinity and loving it at the same time. And like tapping in, since I've always been so like this weird, lanky, metrosexual like art kid. Like, when I just started singing in the voice, like when we did the first thing, and me and Kayla were about to put out the first record, we were just like, nobody is going to believe that this is you, because I look like a little child at the time.
Yeah.
I grew a mustache as soon as I could, and then I've just like kept it since then. And we're like, Caleb was like, we gotta do something to your face, because people aren't even going to believe that this is you singing this, because I was just a joke voice. So like the whole Bobbi Superbody thing, like I just want to like, display somebody that is like those male characteristics of like really aggressive pride and like self-worth, like just already been through the ropes and seen it all kind of thing, but it's just like a scared little baby on the inside, and then just like masking it all with stimuli. And I mean, and most of it, you say like just like live, it's just like body language. Like I really like playing with just body language, and like what a man that has nothing left to lose would do. It's not like suicidal or anything. It's just a desperate person that wants it back. That's like, you put respect on my name because I've been in this game kind of thing. And it's kind of, and it's like, it started out, of course, like, but it's like, I feel like connected to that now. Like, and now it feels like even more honest, where I'm just like, give me my respect. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just whatever. I've been doing this like 4 years now, and faced my like successes and failures on a very small level. Yeah, I have testosterone in my body, so I do have those like moments all the time where I'm like, the older I get, the more like pride I have, and the more actually confident I am. So I'm like actually becoming closer to the character. Like, just the representation in music right now, I don't think there's, when it comes to male singers, and especially male pop singers, playing with masculinity with bright music enough.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people in hip hop are doing it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about straight pop, though. I don't know. I just think it's something cool to represent because it's the way I was born and it's the chemicals in my body. So like, why not play with them if I think I'm an artist and just like, or just like the tradition of what masculinity is in music and just be the coolest guy that I want to be on stage.
I think, yeah, masculinity is a really, like the hegemony of masculinity, like the standard, it's a huge complex thing.
Yeah.
And to exist in that role where society is telling you to behave this way and want this and do this to be a man, to take your pop persona and exaggerate masculinity. I think that what you do and why people connect to you is because you are doing something where you're being vulnerable.
Yes.
And I think that vulnerability in music is what makes or breaks it for me sometimes, but especially with live performance, because that's like a very intimate experience, especially on the DIY level where you are on the stage and
face to face to people,
and you really, give it your all, and it's goofy and it's funny and it's dorky even, but people, they love it. Like they flock to that energy because I think that everybody really wants to be able to be that.
Yeah.
Seeming to like not give a fuck and also giving so much of a fuck. Like, I mean, your character, like Superbody, has a song about trying to get to Hollywood.
Yeah, I think to take the song apart, if anything's happened with that song, I think why it's like connected a lot better with people than any of the other ones, because it's so incredibly vulnerable in the sense of I'm saying what everybody wants to say that's in my scene, but they won't admit at the same time. Like I want to write a song about trying to put myself out there and make it, and they're like, that's ballsy. Like, well, more specifically in like the way I presented it or whatever, I was like, I tried really hard to say, like, am I gonna make it? You decide. You're the people looking at me. Not even meta right now. Like, here's my song about making it that's really good. You decide if you're going to share this with people or not. Yeah. Because I'm desperate and I want to make it without the other side of internet music culture of just listen to my song, listen to my song, listen to my song, listen to my song, listen to my song. You got to find really creative ways to say that now. Yeah. Because people just don't want to like post links all day to their songs. Like,
definitely.
So the best way I've been able to do that is just being extremely vulnerable. Combination of vulnerable and confident. Yeah.
I think that vulnerability needs confidence to happen. So they go hand in hand. And, there's music like Mitski who writes lyrics about emotional, like intimate, vulnerable things, and I really connect to that. But then there is this other side of vulnerability of you can be vulnerable and it can be a lot of fun. It doesn't have to be dark or sad.
I have a blast with it.
I think that as a pop performer, that's so essential because like the point of pop music is it's a lot, it's over the top, and you really bring that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's funny too. It's funny to see somebody scared and desperate, and it makes you uncomfortable. But I don't want to do stuff that like directly makes people uncomfortable. But yeah,
I think it makes people happy or uncomfortable because they see someone being vulnerable, and I think everybody's trying to, whether they know it or not or think about it or not, they're trying to be happy within themselves and be able to be vulnerable and not be afraid or anxious of like being judged, etc., what other people think of them. And I think that people are going to react to what you're doing with either like a kind of glee in seeing somebody not be ashamed in any way and to be a freak. And I think that creates a sense of freedom. It helps give other people, plant the seed, like you could be doing some dumb shit or some crazy shit. It's fun, and it's fucking fun to watch. Like, not saying you're doing dumb shit, but
no. I completely agree.
You can be wild and just like be yourself while you're also like playing a character. But, you're also being yourself.
But it's like what? Yeah, exactly. And I think my character's more myself than anything because I get rid of the acting is just getting rid of all insecurity, period. Other, like, saying it being an older man that's already done his time in the entertainment industry. He doesn't have insecurities anymore. But he can be desperate. He knows what he looks like. He knows, like, how his body moves.
And you embrace it.
Yeah. Exactly. And so, yeah. But, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, so you've been putting out some singles. You're on tour, and what's looming on the horizon for you?
I'm kind of jaded right now on the idea of the, like, indie pop album cycle at all. I just, like, a personal crutch of getting too hung up on singular ideas and marketing them as in singles. It's less of a shot to my ego and livelihood and finances if I take big risks on literal singles than watching an album fail. In the sense, it's always going to fail, though, because in order to do stuff, at least in my own head, let's say make an indie pop album with the big concept and art direction behind it or whatever, it's always going to fail in my eyes because I set my standards way too high. But that makes me make good stuff, in my opinion. Yeah. If I set it like, oh, this is going to, in every household, blah, 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 blah. It's hit me, like, really hard in the past, taking those chances and watching something fail, that I'm just overwhelmed with the thought. Not to mention the entire marketing side of where music is right now and shoving 12 songs down people's throats when, especially with the way I've presented myself, like talking about pretension in music, like I like concepts, but not within this like 40-minute magnum opus. Like I don't see that on my, like I have more fun with singles anyway. Like I like listening to singles. That's how most people are listening to music anymore. I don't want to try to shove another album at people unless I just like shows, unless I feel like there's a true demand for it. As opposed to, I don't want to beg for anything, you know. I want to do it again. Like, and I think I have enough context as an artist right now to just keep doing what I'm doing with these singular ideas, and it's fun to do so and just play up on the aesthetics of certain songs, as opposed to like the last full-length album or whatever. We modeled the record after one-hit wonders, like the whole record after one-hit wonders, and then we only had one song pop off, and we thought that was hilarious. Yeah. But we were like, these are 10 perfect pop songs. Like, what happened, man? Like, it's what we deserved for it anyway. But it's like, that's how music works right now. Like, whatever. Like, I don't even think that's the strongest song or whatever. But of course, every artist is gonna say that about, like, especially somebody that's had one song to pop up. That's like a stereotypical thing. But like, and so it's just like, oh, that's disappointing. Because it's like, oh, people aren't viewing us as that album thing anyway, because we're presenting ourselves as a pop project. Like, we need to at least have hits before somebody wants to consume an album of it. But it's like, I'm really glad I did it, because it really does give me context as an artist and making a bunch of stuff. But now it's like, I'm not even interested in making that much stuff. I'm interested in making really good stuff. And I don't have the money to make a bunch of really good stuff. I have the resources to make one good thing at a time. Yeah. So, like... Well, I mean, I really like every song on the most recent album. Yeah. But definitely, you know, there's a couple that I'm like, I'm going to hit this one first. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that's how pop music works. And exactly. Like, where you're at, it makes sense to just keep dropping hits and, like... You know, when people... really want more and they want the B-sides, then you'll give it to them. Exactly. That's, well, I mean, it's a lot of fun to just drop singles. So the singles, you just released Champagne, which I listened to in my car today, and I was like, I was into it. It was great. And so that's like kind of, it's just standalone. Like it's not promo for an upcoming album. No, I don't believe so. Yeah. I mean, I've worked on a lot of things recently, but yet again I get hung up, and then I just got so excited on that, and it's just like piecing together an aesthetic for a project right now or something just to watch it just go is like not exciting to me. So I'd rather just get really hyped on a specific like aesthetic and photo shoot and idea for a song and then just play up on the idea of that song forever until I put out another song.
Yeah.
It's just fun for me. And so I'm having fun with it. And nobody's telling me to make an album other than you asking about it right now. Nobody's like, I've had a few messages, of course, like, are you making an album? I was like, but it's like, I don't get stuff every day where it's like, where's the album? Where's the album? And I'm not going to put out an album until that's how every day, until people want it.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't have the heart or the patience anymore. Like, I believe in myself a ton, but it's just like, I'm not willing to not top myself. In that sense, like, if I make another album, it has to objectively, not subjectively, objectively outdo, of course, everything I've done, but everything everyone I know's done, and, like, stands up there in top 40. Like, that's just how I, like, and that's how you have to feel. Even if it doesn't do that, it, to me, has to objectively beat everything.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, why am I this confident and why am I this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being naive at that point. So if I believe in it so much that it's objectively better than anything, that's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time. And I don't have either. I have time, but it's just, I want there to be a demand to top myself, or the people that want to work with me to top myself, because I've taken more of a traditional like pop singer approach and just writing songs and then taking them to producers, because I'm interested in production when it comes to like molding a song, like putting a song with like ideas of production, because I know enough about production, but like I'm not the stay on my computer till 5 a.m. dude. Like EQing anymore. Yeah. I don't give a crap. I'm going to give that to somebody that does that and enjoys that. Like, I don't enjoy that anymore. Yeah. I enjoy songwriting more. And if the songwriting is strong enough, any production usually goes through fine. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm there for when it's being produced and I'm there when it's being mixed, it's going to be great, because the song under it, I believe, is like objectively great pop song. So, well, there you go. So I'm just like trying to write songs, make videos with people that want to make videos with me, and produce songs with people that want to produce with me and that have more resources than me, because I don't want to do everything in my bedroom. It's not going to be as good. Like, go to the person that does it professionally that's also your friend, because I don't want to just work with random professionals. Like, I want to work with people that know me and know the context of my work, that are also my friends, that do it every day, just like I write songs every day. I don't care about there's this weird pretension in the whole uprising of bedroom pop that it's like, oh, did you hear this is self-produced? Like, and like, I'm guilty of it too. Like, sometimes when I figure out things are self-produced, I'm still like blown away. But people should be more worried about final products and if you like it or not. Like, it doesn't matter how, or just like people freaking out about ghostwriters. I know that's like dying down now. It's like, sure, if Drake has ghostwriters, like, yeah, but it's that song that all those people, it's like feeding all of their families now, and like they're like, they have reached their dreams. Like, I don't care how many people it took. Like, that's an amazing song that's played everywhere now. And you want to make an amazing song, like you you find the team and the people to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Exactly. Like, I don't care. Like, I care about songs I like. That's all I care about. Like, if I like it or not. Not how many people it took to get to that. Like, that's so pretentious. That is so pretentious. It took me forever to even figure out that that's pretentious. Because I used to be obsessed with it. It's like, oh, I can do Ableton, I can do all this. But, like, it's the final product and how that product moves as a pop head. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's the whole weirdest thing about, like, stan Twitter and stan culture right now. It's like, there's really young people really obsessed with how music is moving, the sales and like the streams, and it's so interesting to me. It's so fascinating to me that it's like the charts and the streams. And you're talking about like when people's fans like want to tell their other followers like stream this artist's album, like watch the video, because the artist is telling them stream the album, and they're exactly, or just comparing their stan list to other stan lists and where they are at the charts, or like the whole thing you see all the time is like, oh, Nicki outsold, like, oh, Ariana outsold, when some like chart data thing, like, it's the craziest stuff in the world. I'm obsessed with it, and I don't really even have an opinion on it other than it's insane and awesome and horrible. where it's like literally just straight up data. The page is like just like chart data, and it just every day like the professional things where it's just like this had this many streams this week, and then you just 13-year-old girls just screaming at each other and fighting for just pages and pages. I tweeted about before, like they have like 13-year-old like Ariana stands like literally like making graphs and stuff on their computer and hard intense math.
That's cute.
But in order to fight with other 13-year-old girls. Like, it's awesome.
Twitter's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, just because they're so passionate about this person, it's incredible. Like, and very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember where we started with that, but Stan Twitter's incredible.
No, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have one last question for you. Might be kind of annoying, but...
Annoy me.
Who is Patricia?
Okay, if you're speaking of the song Patricia, correct? All right. So when we started Superbody, when we started writing songs, we were always obsessed, but we never figured it out. We were like, oh, we should write a song that your character would be in love with, like that Bobbi Superbody or whatever, like the dude that sings like the name of a girl or something, like the name of a woman. We were like, that's a funny idea. That would be cool. We need to like do an old school name. And then we never like wrote down names or anything. We were just like, that'd be a funny idea. And then we made that demo of that song. There's like the chorus, like a loop, and then I was singing, I need your attention now. And I was trying to write a song called Attention. And then Caleb, when I was doing that rhyme scheme, was like, why don't we do Patricia? And then that's how that happened.
Amazing.
Yep.
I honestly asked that just for own personal interest.
Oh yeah, I thought I told you that story.
No, actually.
No, yeah. Oh yeah, it rhymes with attention, sort of. So I feel like that's a lot of a better idea.
I think that's kind of funny because this entire time we have talked about how much you want people's attention.
Yeah.
And so your character's love song is attention now, please.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
kind of an amazing metaphor.
Yeah.
I think Patricia's is attention.
Yeah.
Patricia's all of us.
Yeah,
All
and
of us
pretty much I had
Superbody
written the
fans.
verses too, and I didn't change anything. Like, it pretty much, if you listen to the song, it would work the same. Yeah, it would work the exact same if I was saying attention instead of Patricia. I just wouldn't be saying a girl's name.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's all the lyrics are the exact same.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ryan. This has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been Bobbi Superbody on Everything Nice. Thanks for listening.